This is the NFL Week in Review Show on the Flex Network.
Going up, coming down, does he come down with it? Does Golden State have it? He's in the end zone, he has!
This is the Flex Network.
Unbelievable!
This is the
Romo
Flex
can't get the
Network.
spot down!
Flex on them.
Run Zeke. Up the middle, he's gone! Zeke's gone! Goodbye, Zeke! Touchdown! Short yardage, pinched in. The dogs got out.
Flex on G.
Branding in the gun, third and 8. Crowd making noise. Manning 5 steps. Here comes the run. Taco's got it. That's an Eli taco. Low snap. He picks it up. He looks, he stands, he rushes. Oh, he's up the middle. He's running up the middle. He's boom!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Flex Network. This is your NFL Week in Review show coming to you live this evening, and we are here to talk all of your recap of Week 14, looking ahead to your Week 15 as the NFL playoff picture starts to kind of put itself into a kind of like a more cemented version.
It's coming into clear view. Let's go with that. It's coming into clear view.
Yes, I am Flex Mike at Flex Mike 11 on Twitter. The man next to me is the SnowMan at AJS Dead Snow on Twitter. You can find him there. You can find him on the Flex Network wrestling page as well. FlexNet_PW Elite is where you can find him for your wrestling content. Find us there. We are on every podcasting platform there is. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook Live right now. My boy Ryan Fields is checking in, saying what's up. We're here to talk a little bit of news. Nothing too crazy has been happening other than since Monday night, we've really been talking about, did Lamar Jackson leave the game because he had to poop or not? Okay. God. Everyone's seen the video of him walking off like he had cramps. They reported that maybe he had some cramps or whatever. But then about Tuesday morning, the next morning following the Monday Night Football game, we realized that this video surfaced of Lamar Jackson kind of doing that, like, I got a poop walk to the locker room, and there's a guy at the door, and he was like, hey, get out of the way, I gotta go. And he goes in there, and then next thing you know, Lamar Jackson comes back out, and then he throws a touchdown pass to Marquise Hollywood Brown, and that's pretty much all she wrote at that point. And you know, the Ravens get the win there. But if for the viewers, for the listeners, drop a comment, let us know, did Lamar Jackson have to poop or not? I know there's been plenty of us over the years that at one time or another have had that same exact walk to the restroom, okay? I'll only speak for myself, so no, I'm not going to speak for you as well. One thing I will say is that I would be lying and not being authentic if I said that I didn't have that walk a time or two in my life. But Snow, tell me, what did you think about it? Did you think that he had that walk like I'm describing, or did you buy into he had cramps?
You know what? I would think it would have been, the cramps part, just a little. Because obviously at the beginning, when you see as this happened, it's like, oh, what's up with him? And it's like, he's got, it's probably just something, cramps or something. It's in the middle of the action. It's like, oh, probably got cramps. Just got to get him out. And then, the next day we're hearing, of course, it was actually him. He needed to go take a poop. It's like, really? You know what? I mean, everyone can figure out on their own. They can, come up with their own conclusion, to say, like, if he's going to come out, got to clinch if he gets hit hard enough, you're gonna have that. Oh, I gotta clinch and gotta get to the bathroom quick, and like say it's cramps. But take it for what you will, guys.
Yeah, that whole situation was a little bit interesting. Other news we've kind of discovered today, they announced that George Kittle will be coming off of IR. We don't know if he's going to play in this game this weekend. They play Dallas. We're not sure if he's going to play in that game or not. 49ers seem to be getting more healthy as the season goes on. Unfortunately, they're one of those teams that's like basically 100% eliminated. I mean, well, I would say 99% eliminated. They need to win out and then have all these teams do all these crazy things to, this team needs to win, that team needs to lose, these three teams need to tie, like all types of crazy things need to happen. So you see on the screen here, the 49ers are sitting at 5-8 and 2-2 in the division. Their 2 wins, of course, because they swept the Rams, which is just hilarious to me. But there's a lot of things going on.
And the thought with the Niners is it's more like it's too little too late for them, I would say. I mean, if you could see on the screen, they're 5-8. They are 4 games back with 3 weeks to play. I literally do not see this as a winning season for these guys to try to get healthy enough. I mean, it's over for them. They are out of the playoffs, and even if they win their next 2 games, their next 2 division games, which coming up, it's going to be all NFC West opponents. I just don't see them getting into the wild card. So season's over, close up shop, sit George Kittle. I mean, we said this, several weeks ago when they, said that, Kittle's going to be out till probably near the end of the season, and Jimmy G is going to be out till probably the end of the season. So it's best to sit and let him rest up, because their last 2 games is the Cardinals and then us to kick off the new year.
Yeah, that's a tough draw. Normally you would probably say, I'll give them a fighting chance against the Cardinals, but the issue with the Cardinals is the Cardinals are struggling. They're on the outside looking in right now in the NFC playoff picture. So not the NFC West, but the NFC.
No, they are sitting at 7 right now.
Oh, they are 7.
Okay, in the
playoffs. So they have to win. They absolutely either way. My argument is still the same, which is you're facing a Cardinals team that needs to win every game for the remainder of the season to be able to kind of take care of business. Like Seattle has Washington, then they have the Rams, and then they have the 49ers the last week of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you already said the 49ers have Arizona twice and the Seahawks, right? So that's 3 NFC West games. And then I know the Rams get a little bit of a layup because they're playing the Jets this weekend, and then they'll play the Seahawks. And I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I don't know who they played the last week of the regular season. But
the
anything
Rams
that happens,
the Rams will have the Jets, the Hawks, and then the Cards.
So it's 2 out of 3 division games for the Seahawks, the Rams, and then the 49ers, of course, have all 3 division games. So that's tough, man. Even if you could, on paper say, hey, we're way better than this team, it doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you are in any division. The divisional opponents that you have are the teams that know you best, and so those are always difficult games in my opinion. Let's go over a couple of other newsworthy things that have come out this week. Drew Brees, who had all those broken ribs and stuff, he has Sean Payton basically said he's been cleared to practice and still has a ways to go before he can play. So I think that just means he's cleared for just the regular throwing motion type stuff. I wouldn't even say contact, because any contact to those ribs could probably really upset them in in a bad way, which could put him in jeopardy for the playoffs. So I would just say like just normal movements when, like an arm coming forward in order to throw puts a little bit of stress on that area, but not a whole lot. I wouldn't say he's cleared for contact at all, but who knows there. Let's see. Word on the street is the Houston Texans attended a Deshaun Watson event and a potential COVID violation. So there could be something going on there from the league where they could fine the Houston Texans as if they don't have enough problems. The Detroit Lions center, Ragnow, dude fractured his throat. I've never heard this in my life. Dude fractured his throat in a game, finished the game. After the game, they said, oh, yeah, he fractured his throat. And then news comes out today. They're like, oh, he's questionable for Sunday. Like, oh, really? A fractured throat. I didn't even know that was a diagnosis you could get for your throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you get a good shot right in here, it takes just a pinpoint shot, and you got a fractured throat.
Yeah, and then let's see. Lamar Jackson's claiming that COVID may have affected his cramping, if that's what we're calling it. Other news, we have Greg Olsen from the Seahawks, who had a fascia tear earlier this season, has kind of been on the mend and is actually back at practice this week. And Pete Carroll's kind of calling it this miraculous recovery or whatever. In my opinion, I think that they weren't completely truthful with the severity of the injury at the time, and so it's kind of making it look like a miraculous recovery, but who knows if it actually is. Let's see. Last thing here. Raiders rule out starters Cleveland Farrell, Nicholas Morrow, Damon Arnett, and Jonathan Abram versus the Chargers, which is the Thursday night football game. Comments on that, Snow?
No, not really any comments on that. I don't really have anything on that.
I mean, that's tough, right? Missing any starters is tough, but four of them?
Yeah, it's one of, again, it's no different than a couple weeks ago they had to bench a bunch of
seven dudes.
Yeah, 7 dudes from the line. So, I've learned right now this year that with COVID, anything and everything is just straight possible, to say the least. Literally.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
I like this comment here from Mama Snow. She says, hopefully the backups will play like they want it. And the thing that I like about it is that, and being the Raiders being kind of your AFC team here, I would be curious to know what your opinion is. But to me, when we had those guys, all those guys from the offensive line and other guys that were the backups, come in and play for the starters, and they were winning games, right? And then the starters come back and then they start dropping games. And so I guess my question for you is, like, do you think that the backups wanted it way more than the starters did, and the starters just thought that things were given to them? Because I noticed a difference in the play. I don't know how you feel about it.
I actually agree with that, statement, because thinking as a backup, your mindset is to get on the field. You want to play on Sunday or Thursday. You want to be in these games that matter, especially late in the season. You want to be at those games if you're seeing your main guys just calling it in and be like, oh yeah, I got my team this far, and I'm doing good, I'm getting paid. The backups and the second stringers, the third stringers, they want to get into this. They want to be the ones that be the heroes. They want to be the ones that are making the plays, that are getting their team into the playoffs, and they need these games. We're in week 15, going into week 15, and this is a serious situation for the Raiders. They need this game against the Chargers. They need to win against the Chargers this coming week. They need to beat Miami coming up. in order to get some hope of getting into that playoff picture, that last wild card spot. This is the time to get stuff going. I'm trying to not swear as much, but I mean, because that the AFC West is currently out of reach. It's bye-bye. The number one in the AFC West is gone. It's even though you beat them once, you split with them. It doesn't matter. They're
damn near beat them twice.
Yeah, damn near. But I mean, they're the first team there to give them that nice shiner. But again, Raiders 7-6, KC Chiefs at 12-1. Your best hope right now is the wild card, at 5, 6, or 7. And right now, the 5 I would say is out of reach a little bit. 6 and 7 is your best chance. So you guys they gotta play lights out and be ready to literally need to generate that old Raider mentality back in the 80s. That hard nose, you want to rip their heads off and just shove them down their throats mentality.
Yeah. Mama Snow here, she's in favor of benching the starters, and maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. The backups have shown that they want it more than the starters do. In my opinion, from the games that I've seen of the Raiders, the only Raiders starters that seem to want anything are Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and Nelson Aguilar. No, and I can't even believe I'm saying Nelson Aguilar's name like he's relevant, but that's just where we're at now. Nelson Aguilar has gone from the Philadelphia Eagles to the Las Vegas Raiders and just really has reinvented himself in a way. Not that he wasn't any good, but for whatever reason on Philly, he just, I don't know. They couldn't get him the ball. Maybe it was a Carson Wentz issue. And I mean, we obviously know that Carson Wentz has his own share of problems this year. So, and Mama Snow says, got to play the guys that have shown they want to win. And, she's right. And so,
it's crunch time, guys. You got to step up if you want to get into the playoffs. I mean, that's all it is. In layman's terms for the Raiders, just win, baby.
Yeah. So let's get into our recap for the week as we recap some of the games from this past week.
Before we get to the recaps, I want to get your thoughts on what happened in Pac-12 this week. There's two quick things. Number one, what happened down in the desert with
in Arizona?
Arizona Wildcats getting spit roasted by them Sun Devils. The Sun Devils just dropped 70. Literally, what the hell? Or in Matt's terms, what the 70.
Yeah, I think that Arizona's been wildly overrated for the past few seasons. They really just had over the last, I would say last few years in recent memory, they had Khalil Tate, who was their quarterback, Lamar Jackson style kind of gadget guy at quarterback that I didn't really like or care for. And their coach is not good. What's his name? Sumlin.
Yeah.
He came from Texas A&M, and I don't know. I didn't really care for him. I didn't think they were that good to begin with. And Arizona State, for that matter, has a lot of talent. Herm Edwards is there as their head coach. And so I mean, the second he got there, they were like drastically improved. And so it was just a matter of time until they kind of did this to someone. And I'm glad they did it to Arizona instead of like Washington State, And so,
yeah. And then, of course, what's going on, with the North, being passed around, I guess. I mean, UW is no longer going to be playing in the Pac-12 title game this coming week. It's going to the Ducks.
Yeah, well, the Ducks are still going to lose. They're playing USC, who's ranked I don't know if the Ducks are ranked. If they are ranked, they're
No,
like
they're not.
25 or something. Okay, I didn't
No.
think so. The Ducks have their problems. First of all, they're 1 year, not even a full year out of Justin Herbert. So I would say if you're a Ducks fan and you're kind of worried about that, I would just say pump the brakes, give it a little bit of time. Oregon's historically been great at recruiting ever since Joey Harrington left the school back in the day, forever ago. And so, they have all the different uniform combinations. They got Nike is, one of the guys that founded Nike is a University of Oregon graduate. So like, of course you're going to have all those uniforms. You're going to have all those nice things going for you. You're going to get the attention from ESPN and everyone else. And so, just, this is part of the college system. It's not like the NFL where all you got to do is throw money at a guy and he'll stay there. With college, once your eligibility is up, guys are trying to get paid. And so that's really all there is right now. And so you have a little bit of time with Oregon. You got to wait. There's some guys in the pipeline that are on their way. Today's National Signing Day, for that matter. And they signed a good slew of guys, kids who are fast and athletic. They want to go to Oregon because they can get, they'll, even if they're not that good,
them up with the gear, they will hook them up. Let's just go with that.
Right. But that's what they want. And so, yeah, but let's go ahead and Snow, let's move into our let's move into our recaps. Let's go Thursday night football from this last week. The Rams beat the Patriots 24-3. Cam Newton seemed to be kind of like benched at the end. I don't know if he was benched or if they were just like, there's no point in you playing. I don't know, but we'll see. Seahawks take care of the Jets 40-3. The Jets score 3 points on their opening drive, and then that was all she wrote for the rest of the game. Russell Wilson tosses 4 touchdowns, and they just kind of take care of business.
They handled the Jets. I mean, as they needed this bounce back from losing against the Giants last week. This was a come to Jesus moment where we need to get the ship right, and they got it right, and they pushed the Jets to the longest losing streak in team history. So,
right. Well, the Seahawks do this thing where they play down to their opponent, or they are blowing a team out, and then they let them in it late. And so, Stormy here says, I think she's kind of hitting on the Oregon thing we were talking about. She's saying that it's sponsorship always about the flash. Yeah.
He is. He's my brother.
He is. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I saw a woman in the picture and I assumed that it was a woman. My bad. Anyway, but I think that's what he's probably right about that. It is about the flash. It's about, hey, look at all the different uniform combinations and stuff that we have. But anyway, back to the Seahawks. They take care of business in the way that we wanted them to. Jamal Adams breaks the sack record as a DB. I believe 8.5 sacks on the season.
I believe so, yeah.
And so that's a new NFL record. So that's cool. Let's see. Bears absolutely dismantle the Texans 36-7. Cowboys take care of the Bengals 30-7, as we predicted. The Bengals they're not good. I mean, they weren't good, really that great before. Alex Torres is in the house checking in, boys. Appreciate you, Alex. Let's see.
This is why the bag is in existence.
Exactly. Okay, let's move to Chiefs beat the Dolphins 33-27 in a super close game. Miami makes Pat Mahomes throw 3 picks, and Miami did their best to, like you've been saying all season, they're a thorn in everybody's side, and that was especially true on Sunday.
Yeah, the Dolphins normally, in years that they're bad, they don't rise to the occasion. They are always the team that puts a thorn in someone's side. They're the unexpected team that will give them a fight. This year, of course, they're in contention for an East title. So they had one of the best chances to give the Chiefs a chance to a 2-loss season.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Then we're gonna move on. The Cardinals beat the Giants 26-7. Um, Buccaneers beat the Vikings 26-14. That game was pretty much over in the beginning, like early on, but the Vikings kind of tried to climb back into it late. And I wouldn't say garbage time because it wasn't quite garbage time, but the game was over for most of it. Broncos beat the
Yeah.
Panthers 32-27. Titans all over the Jaguars as expected were Titans 31, Jaguars 10. Colts beat the Raiders 44-27. What do you have to say about that? I know you got something to say there about the Raiders. Was that just annoying to you? Because I watched a little bit of that game and I just felt like outside of Nelson Aguilar and Darren Waller, I didn't feel like Derek Carr was in sync with a lot of his guys on offense.
Yeah, it was just a lot of bad timing. Nothing went right. I mean, it went right near the end, and it was just garbage time. So it's like, I don't know what is up with the Raiders right now. They need these, next 3 games if they want a shot at the playoffs. They need it. That's literally that's all I could say about it. Just play right, guys.
Yeah, and I mean it's very evident when they don't have their starters and they play completely different. Okay. Packers beat the Lions 31-24. Packers were kind of up a little bit on that one, and then the Lions tried to make a late comeback, which didn't work out in their favor. The upset of the week goes to the Eagles. They beat the New Orleans Saints, the previous number 1 seed in the NFC, 24-21. The Los Angeles. Oh, go ahead.
That one was real good. I'm watching like the tail end of that game and just seeing the Saints pulling, trying to get close back to it, and it just ends up going right for these guys. 2 individual 100-yard rushing, rushers for the guy for Philly. Sanders and Hurts pulling off 100-yard rushers. It was awesome.
Yeah, everyone was saying that Jalen Hurts was eating and doing all this other stuff, and then, I mean, he played a lot better than Carson Wentz has been playing, but by no means was he eating or like being exceptional. I mean, I looked at his stats; they weren't that impressive. But I will say that facing what was the number 1 seed in the NFC at the time, being the
Saints.
worse
and the Drew Brees less Saints at the moment.
Right. It's a good thing that Wentz was benched, Hurts seems to be the right play here. Yeah, Stormy checking in again says that and a well-deserved Wentz bench. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's going to be the rest. Hurts is going to be the rest of the way through their quarterback for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you have to figure something
left to
out.
Lose.
I mean, the fact of the matter is Wentz has to be on the team in this year and 2021 at minimum, because if he's not on the roster, then he gets a pretty
buku.
penny.
He gets buku bucks, ladies and germs.
So I don't know who. And I don't know who's negotiating these contracts, but oh, no way they don't want to pay that money. Yeah, I don't know who's negotiating these contracts for these players, but they're doing their players a favor because it's forcing these teams to have to play them even if they aren't performing well. Okay, let's move through these last few games. Falcons drop to the Chargers 20-17. Washington beats the 49ers 23-15. Chase Young's all over the place. That D-line for Washington is pretty good. Buffalo Bills beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football 26-15. That was a really good game.
And this was the first win for Buffalo, at home against Pittsburgh since Week 5 of 1999.
Yeah, that's tough because Pittsburgh is consistently good. You know, even if they have a down year, they'll come back the next year or year after that and be pretty decent. But Buffalo has really struggled to, you know, be any form of consistency over the last, I would say, decade. They really haven't been that great. They've just been in the AFC East getting beat up on by the Patriots, just like everyone else in the AFC East. But let's see here. Ravens 47, Browns 42. It was really a 47 to or sorry, it was a 42 to 45 game. The last play of the game, the Browns tried to do the old, you know, pitch to this guy, pitch to that guy, and they end up in the back of the end zone, and the Ravens get a cheap safety at the end to make it look a little more distant, not a whole lot. We talked about earlier Lamar Jackson, quote unquote cramps. I think he had to take a poop, but that's just me personally. Yeah, and so that's, dude, for me, that being an AFC North divisional game, that's old school football, man. I would say that there's not a lot of people who thought that this game was going to be a 47 to 42. Talking about that's 89 points together combined. That Snow, do you have last week's picks up? Because
Yes, I do.
Between me, you, and Cam, none of us got anywhere close to 89. Who was the highest?
We were the I was we no one we were all under 50. I was at 50. Cam was at 44 and you were at 44, but you were for Cleveland.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Cleveland was going to win. But here's the thing, man. We talked about this off air a little bit, but the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns are the number 1 and number 2 rushing teams in the AFC. And so when you start to think about rushing teams typically do things that are a lot more methodical. It's a slower pace. It's, you know, get 6 yards at a time, 5 yards at a time, 3 yards at a time, whatever. And so it slows the game down in that way. And so there's just not as much opportunity to score points. But in this game, that didn't really seem to matter because Cleveland and Baltimore were both so balanced. It was crazy. There's, you know, it was almost like 50% passing, 50% running. Baltimore is a little bit heavier on the running side, obviously, because they have Lamar, who has that ability to get out of the pocket in a kind of like a superior way. Like Baker Mayfield's not scrambling in the same way that Lamar can, you know?
Yeah, the game wise, you want to say it was about even, but it on the stat wise, it was completely not even on both sides of the ball. I mean, think about it. And I do have the stats right in front of me for that game. Cleveland threw for 355 yards, while Baltimore dropped 154 on the passing yards. Rushing, Baltimore was 231. Cleveland was $138. So,
wow.
I mean, it was a contrast to Cleveland throwing it and Baltimore just running it more. But 9 combined rushing touchdowns, 9 combined rushing touchdowns tied the most for a single game in the NFL history. That is just damn impressive, especially for an 89-point game.
Yeah. That they've just been a little bit
and even Lamar had 124 rushing yards, the most for a quarterback on Monday Night Football since 1970. That's an impressive stat for Monday night.
Yeah, they that was, to me, that's one of the better games I mean, I won't say better, but I'll say entertaining. It's one of the more entertaining games that I've seen in quite some time. Of course, it draws comparisons to the Kansas City Los Angeles Rams game from, was that last season? Might have been the year before. I don't remember. Where they were both kind of like, you know, scoring was off the map, and so
Oh yeah.
it was entertaining, man. I really, really enjoyed it. But let's go ahead and move to the let's make our picks for this week, man. I really there's a lot of intriguing matchups this week, and I would just be curious to see kind of how or where we go for a few of them. But let's
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna start on.
Well, before we get too far, I mean, of course, we have the last week's standings. I won last week thanks to the Monday night tie breaker procedure that we have here. Tied with Cam at 11-5, and we end the reign of terror that Flex Mike has had for the last 6 weeks at winning winning that week picks. He comes up a game short at 10-6, but he also pulls as a dead tie with Cowboy Cam in the season-long standings. How you liking that, Mr. Mike?
I mean, it is what it is. I came from quite a ways back. It seems like I was very Seahawks like, where I took the entire first half off, and I have now recovered everything that I didn't do in the first half and have tied, and now we're going into overtime. So it was overtime season, boys. So we're about to see what's going on.
Yep. Final 3 weeks.
Yep. Okay. Hey,
and just so everyone out there understands, because Cam's not here this week. I mean, obviously the Dallas Cowboys, they had to hide. We have his picks. We'll make the announcement out there when we do the picks. We have his picks for the week. So go ahead.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go to week 16. We will start on
it's week 15.
Or sorry,
You're
week
jumping
15.
ahead.
My bad.
Week 16 is Christmas.
Yeah, my bad. Week 15. We have Las Vegas taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Vegas is favored by 3 points. I'll start with you, Snow, on this one. What you think about this?
This, I mean, I said earlier in the show, Vegas needs this game to get, to keep winning pace. Hopefully crack that top 7 for the playoffs. Hopefully this is one of their games that they're going to do it, and they're at home. So I am going with the Raiders.
Yeah, Cam also went with the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders as well because I think the Raiders are in desperate need to win out mode. And I think that they have the ability to do that. It's just a matter of what they do week to week, figuring that out. But with a team like the Chargers, who I don't trust at all, they're 4-9. I'm rolling with the Raiders as well. Let's move to Saturday. Actually, we have some Saturday NFL football this week. This is your afternoon game at 3:30 my time, which would be 1:30 your time. We will be seeing the Buffalo Bills take on the Denver Broncos. Buffalo is favored by 6 points. I'm hammering the Bills all the way. I think the Bills are on a roll. Are we raising hands? Okay, we're raising hands. We all went Bills. Cam went Bills as well. So we'll keep that rolling.
So that means everyone here is
no wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
We're circling the wagons.
Yeah, that one is kind of like
a gimme.
I guess a part of me would choose, like, I don't know. I would want to have a conversation about it, but the Bills seem to be rolling right now, and so I'm going to go with the Bills. Let's go next to the Carolina Panthers at 4-9, taking on the Green Bay Packers at 10-3. Green Bay's favored by 8.5 points. Cam went with Green Bay. Snow, where are you going?
Well, one quick thing about Buffalo before we head, I'll make my pick. They can clinch up the East title with their win on Saturday and hope that Miami loses, or they can tie with Miami, or they can have a tie, or Miami ties too. So they can lock up a playoff berth and the NFC or the AFC East with the win on Saturday. My pick for Green Bay, Carolina. I'm actually staying with Green Bay. I have not trusted Carolina that much. Green Bay's 13-2 at home since 2019, including playoffs, and I think that they're going to continue to roll with Aaron Rodgers and make it a 11-13. And they've already clinched the North, and they're already in the playoffs, so might as well keep and at the number 1 seed. So this is just gravy for these guys. They need to finish out strong. Give me the Packers.
Yeah, I'm there with the Packers as well. I think at this point, Carolina doesn't offer much to be able. I don't see anyone in the Carolinas defense that can match up with Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a great receiver, top 2 or 3 at his position in the NFL. It's just a matter of, is there going to be a team that comes across the NFC that can match up with Devontae Adams, someone that can get in his face and create some disruption? Because let's just face it, at this point, Devontae Adams is at a point in his career where he's not a guy that you can shut down. He's a guy that you can disrupt. And you're like, oh, maybe you don't have a 100-yard game, but you have like a 60-yard game with a touchdown or something, And so you can disrupt him. You can get in his way as he's kind of going towards something. But I don't see really any teams out there that can disrupt him in that way. The only person that I would say at this point in the NFC that could get in front of him and cause him any issues would be who's a kid in Los Angeles, Jalen Ramsey. That could be the only guy that could get in his face, and we don't even know if he's capable of it because we haven't seen him yet. And so we'll see. And that's always there. So let's go to our next game of the week. We have the 9-4 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 6-7 Washington football team. Seattle is favored by 5.5 points. Snow, I'll start with you.
I feel like this might actually be, surprisingly, in Cam's words, it's a trap. This is a trap game. Not to say I'm not going to, against the Seahawks. I'm picking the Seahawks. But I feel like this is a game where the whatchamacallits can possibly do some damage and possibly keep, not only try to keep a struggle on their 4 seed right now that they have, but and leading the NFC least. But this could also give Seattle a headache if they play them as, if they feel like they're going to play them like they did the Jets, that mentality of it's the NFC least team and we're going to try to take them lightly. And of course, Seattle can clinch a playoff berth with the win, or a Minnesota and Chicago tie on Sunday. So I am going Seahawks, but I feel like this could be a trap game if they treat this like the Giants game 2 weeks ago. But I feel like Seattle's not going to, and they're going to pick up the victory over the whatchamacallits.
Yeah, I'm in a situation where I think that Washington's really going to try and get after Russell Wilson. Defensive line wise, you got Chase Young, you got Ryan Kerrigan. And so there's some guys there that can do some damage. Quentin Dunbar is a guy that we traded a 5th-round pick for out of Washington. So maybe there's a rumors are he's supposed to be healthy enough to play this week. Carlos Dunlap, Seahawks DN, is going to play this week. They're moving forward like that. There's Rashad Penny's practicing again, and so coming off that pup list, so we'll see what happens there. You know, we talked about earlier, Greg Olsen is practicing again. Josh Gordon is on his way. He still can't play this week, but you know he's on his way, and so there's some things there that are promising for the Seahawks, and you know the Seahawks DBs, they really got to worry about a guy like Terry McLaurin. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's a big time deep threat. He's a guy you got to worry about. One of the major things in the game is Alex Smith is injured, but they're saying that he's going to play. And so what version of Alex Smith are we going to get? So there's that to throw into the whole algorithm. But I think that the Seahawks win this game. I think that they more than likely are going to have one of those games where it's a little bit frustrating because the D-line is getting after Russell, but good luck to the Washington football team's DBs guarding our receivers. And so I mark up a Seattle win there, in my opinion. I think the days of them underestimating opponents as far as this season goes is over, because Shaquille Griffin, the DB on the right side, kind of said in the media, like, yeah, we underestimated the Giants. We thought that was just a walkthrough game. It definitely was not. And we took them too lightly. And so I think that's a little bit of truth that the Seahawks defense needed. And so here we are,
And this is
sitting
the
at 9-4.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say here we are sitting at 9-4, and the Seahawks aren't in a position to play around because, like I said earlier, they have Washington this week. They need to win to become 10-4, and then they have that December 27th game against the Los Angeles Rams, which, as far as everything goes, it's a must win for multiple reasons. It's a must win, number one, because more than likely that's going to be the NFC West winner. And number two, it has major NFC seeding implications. And so, yeah, we need to take care of that. And so if as long as we can control our own destiny, that's best case scenario. So right now we just need to do what we're supposed to do, and we'll be all right. But I'm taking Seattle on this one. Cam also took Seattle, so we went all Seattle across the board. Let's go to our next game of the week. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 8-5 taking on the Atlanta Falcons, who are 4-9. Tampa Bay's favored by 6 points. I'll go first. I'm going Tampa Bay in this one. I think that Tampa Bay's in a situation where they want to kind of put their best foot forward. They really haven't looked right all season when you think about it. They bring in Antonio Brown. They bring Gronk back. They just sent Ronald Jones to injured reserve, and so they got a different running back in there now. You know, Leonard Fournette's going to have to come out, and so we'll really see what's going on. No one really knows. I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this one. Backs against the wall. Tom Brady's still missing throws every game. Deep throws, short throws, intermediate throws, whatever. He's missing throws every single game. I just don't know what Atlanta has left. I think Atlanta might have enough to be competitive for a little bit, but I just think late in the game, Tampa Bay is going to pull away, and that's my take on it. Cam also went Tampa Bay, for that matter. Snow, who do you have in this one?
Battle of the Super Bowl 51 quarterbacks. Matt Ryan versus Tom Brady again. I think maybe Matty could see this as a revenge game for the embarrassment that he suffered at Super Bowl 51. I think that this might be a chance for him to get some respect back. However, the way that the Atlanta Falcons are playing this year and where they are currently sitting, and the fact that they're right behind Tampa Bay in third place in the South, and the South is pretty much all locked up, except for the Saints have to clinch. They still can clinch the South. Tampa Bay can clinch a playoff berth with their win, plus Minnesota and Chicago tie. So they need that to happen in order to get into the playoffs. I'm actually going to go with give me a sword. I'm joining you guys on the Jolly Roger down there in Tampa Bay, because I'm swinging with the Bucks.
Okay, we all go Bucks across the board. Now let's get into the game that's an oddly similar matchup here. We have the 49ers sitting at 5-8, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who are 4-9. San Francisco is actually favored by 3 points. Snow, I'll go right back to you on this one. Who do you have in this one?
Well, this is going to be a very interesting game, to say the least, at least for pick wise. Dallas, of course, this past week, they made a comeback, and they actually, or not really comeback, but they won their game. Did they?
Yeah,
they blew out Cincinnati. I forgot about that. They blew out Cincinnati 30-7. And
I believe the first 3 offensive drives for the Cincinnati Bengals resulted in fumbles, whether it was the quarterback, the running back, receiver, whoever. But I'll say this: understand one thing real quick. Giovanni Bernard, who was the starting running back for Cincinnati this past Sunday, fumbled.
Mhm.
It was his first fumble in 256 games, I believe, or maybe not games. It probably was games, right? He's probably played 256 games. I just remember hearing a really high number and hearing that he fumbled in a game, and it was the longest active streak for anything in the NFL. Whether it was starts, completions, blah, 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 whatever. It was the longest streak in the NFL at the time. And when he fumbled, the announcers on TV were like flabbergasted. They could not believe that he fumbled just because he'd been so consistent in the other direction. But anyway.
Yeah. And since Jimmy G is still out, and while they're going to hopefully play Kittle, get him back in the fold, I do not think that this is going to be a San Francisco team that is going to get up to the task of this Dallas team that is coming off of a smashing good time at home. So give me Dallas.
Okay, so Cam went Dallas. Snow went Dallas. I am going to go the opposite. The 49ers, I do not trust them at all, obviously, but I'm just trying to be a little bit different here. I'm trying to separate myself or sabotage myself. Who knows? I think that Denver, or not, sorry, Denver. I was looking at Denver. I think that the 49ers are capable of winning this game simply because they are getting more healthy. Their defensive line is still really good. Their running game is still potent. You have to be, Richard Sherman's out there at corner. He's not what he once was, but he's still pretty good. And so there's a lot of that I have to take into account. And Dallas seems, between Dallas and Atlanta this year, those are the 2 teams that seem like if things are going to go wrong, they'll go wrong against them. And so I'm going to go 49ers on this one, just to be different here.
And like we said, like we were saying with San Francisco earlier in the show, is it too little too late? I mean, is this a San Francisco team that's actually going to play Kittle for the next 3 weeks, and hopefully when Jimmy G gets picked up and and gets back to healthy, is he going to be playing? That's the aspect of it. Is he going to be playing, or is he going to be sitting out, which is going to allow for a different mindset over there in 49ers land. So it could change the dynamic, the next two games, and even it won't change this game. I feel like, even with Kittle coming back. So a lot of things could happen, especially in the last 3 weeks of the season. So, but I feel like it's too little too late for them if they're going to play these guys. So yeah.
Okay, Snow. So Detroit versus Tennessee. Detroit is sitting at 5-8. Tennessee is sitting at 9-4. Tennessee is favored by 11. You are raising your hand. I will also raise my hand. In agreement. Cam is somewhere raising his hand currently. He is
I'll
in
raise his
agreement
hand
with
for
us.
him, because
Yeah.
this is an easy decision, just for the plain fact that the Titans are rolling. They have, it's literally, they are just rolling. They can clinch a playoff berth with the win plus a Baltimore loss, a win, a Vegas loss or a tie, a Miami loss, a Cleveland win or a tie, and a Tennessee win, a Vegas loss or tie, a Miami loss, and or plus a Tennessee or Cleveland or Cleveland clinches strength of victory tiebreaker over Miami. So they have a lot of ways they can clinch a playoff berth, and we're all going to be swinging the swords because we're swinging with the Titans.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to. We're gonna go Houston versus Cincinnati, or sorry, versus Indy, not Cincinnati. I don't know why. Oh, I saw Colts. Maybe that's why I thought that. Houston sitting at 4-9. The Indianapolis Colts are at 9-4. Indy is favored by 7 points. I'm hammering Indy on this one. I think that Indy wins, but I don't think it's going to look so
Closer?
lopsided in the beginning, but I think as the game goes on, it'll start to become more lopsided.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Of course, Cam also chose Indy. I think this is going to be an Indianapolis bashing for Houston. They're going to get bashed, and Indy really does need this if they want to make their next two games against the Titans worth anything. Actually, let me double check to make sure that they have to play them twice. I think I said that they had to play them twice in the month of December. Oh, that's the wrong. Yeah, Colts.
That's a tough matchup if that is the case. Twice in the month of December that's
No,
like a
scratch that.
juggernaut.
Scratch that. They've already played them in November.
Okay.
They played them in November, and they split. Okay. So Indy does need this to try to keep pace with Tennessee.
Well, Indy's in the same boat that like Las Vegas is in, which is you're not winning your division currently.
Yeah.
And so you're fighting for, that 5-6 spot. And so they need to figure that out. And Indy, I believe, has a leg up on Las Vegas currently, but it's the NFL. Things can change. The last 2 weeks of the season are like the craziest weeks. And so
yeah,
especially AFC wise,
go ahead.
I was going to say AFC wise, the playoff picture towards the bottom, 4, 5, 6 is always kind of crazy. There's a lot of room to move there, and so I'm interested seeing how this could potentially play out.
Yeah, and Indy does have the leg up on Vegas. on Raiders because they just beat them. So Vegas would need to beat Miami, at least, in my mindset and probably what it looks like, to probably have that tiebreaker to get into the playoffs. Because Miami, if they lose to Vegas, then it'll probably be, out, at least, if it comes down to those two to get in. But anything can happen.
Right. Okay. Let's go to the New England Patriots at 6-7 are taking on the Miami Dolphins, who are at 8-5. Miami's favored by 2 points. I see the favor, but I disagree with it completely. I think where the Patriots are at currently this season and where Miami's at currently this season, this has some big time potential to be the AFC blowout of the week. I think Miami is going to, as Brad Sham, the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, would say, walk the dog. I mean, I think that they're just going to whoop New England in a just nasty way. The Brian Flores comes from that New England Bill Belichick tree, knows him pretty well. I think that he is going, I think Tua, I think that Miami Dolphins defense, I think that receiving core, I think that D-line, everything that they have in Miami right now, I think they're going to wipe the floor with New England. That's my opinion. I'm taking Miami all the way on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Miami is just too hot right now, and they're right now looking to seal up their playoff, spot, hopefully. They don't have a clinch. They can't clinch yet, so hopefully in the next couple weeks, they'll have the opportunity to, but Miami is going to be the better team against the Patriots because we're all swimming with the fish boys.
Right. Okay. Chicago Bears sitting at 6-7 are taking on the 6-7 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota's favored by 3. Cam went Chicago. I'm going Minnesota. I think Minnesota's has a better quarterback, a better offense in general, the better running back. They don't have the better defense, but we'll see what happens. Offense wins games, defense wins championships, as they say. Snow, you're the deciding factor between me and Cam. Who do you have in this one?
Looking at record-wise, I mean, they're the same, overall standing-wise, they're 6-7. But the difference is they're division games. And Minnesota has the edge at 3-1. While the Bears are sitting at a lonely 1-3. And they've already beaten the Bears once earlier in week 10, about 5 weeks ago. Or sorry, 4 weeks ago it'd be, but 5 weeks. Close game on that one. So I'm going to go with the season sweep for them Vikings and give them a Viking funeral for the Bears because I'm going with you up north to the Vikings.
Okay. Next game, in my opinion, is a hand raiser. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-12 taking on the Baltimore Ravens at 8-5. Baltimore's favored by 13. And we all say Baltimore across the board. Okay. And then we move to another fundraiser, the 0-13 New York Jets taking on the Los Angeles Rams at 9-4. Rams are favored by 17 points.
Cam,
Okay.
I got you, Cam.
Yeah.
I got Cam. Yeah, we're all saying Rams.
Right. So, okay. Last few games here. Let's go the 4-8-1 Philadelphia Eagles taking on the 7-6 Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's favored by 6 points. Cam, I'll let you, Snow, I'll let you start on this one. Not Cam.
Cam, what's your pick? Oh, Arizona. Okay, you got Cam's pick. It's Arizona.
Yep.
surprisingly, I'm gonna roll with Cam. I think Philadelphia, of course. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me reset that. Philly at 4-8-1, and in the NFC least division right now, they still have a slim chance. And when I say slim, I'm talking like slim shady chance. It's like a sliver of hope. But they need some help. The Giants and the whatchamacallits need to drop a game. Philly needs to win. They'll jump the Giants. They can get into striking distance with Washington if that happens. But I feel like Washington is too better of a team to let that happen. And obviously in the last 2 weeks. I'm not saying this week, but for this week against Arizona, I think Arizona's just going to be a little too strong for them. And I think the Cardinals are just going to be playoff hope dashers and end the Philadelphia Birds season right there in the desert at the Big Toaster. So give me Arizona.
Yeah, I took Arizona as well. I think Arizona and Philly are kind of on two different playing fields there. Arizona's trying to scrap out everything possible to get into the playoffs. Philly is just kind of hopeful at this point. They're not a good football team. I'm going to Arizona on that one as well. Next, we have a pretty intriguing matchup. We have the 12-1 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 10-3 New Orleans Saints. Kansas City's favored by 3 points. I said this weeks ago, I think Kansas City wins this game with or without Drew Brees. I'm going Kansas City. Cam went Kansas City. Snow, where are you at?
I'm actually going with KC. The Saints last week giving up that shocking upset right there over the Eagles. I feel like KC's just going to be a little bit more worse for these guys. I mean, because if the Saints are going to lose by 3 to a 4-8-1 team in the NFC least, what's going to happen when they play a AFC West division playoff bound team? That's going to be a real bad day. Even if Drew Brees is cleared and he plays, it might be a little bit closer, but still, I feel like the KC is just going to chop the Heavenly Saints down to size in the Big Easy. So give me them Chiefs.
Yeah, we all went KC across the board there. KC just seems to be operating on all cylinders and are relatively injury-free. I think that's been something that they've been very lucky with over the last couple of seasons. Their Super Bowl run last year and this year, they really haven't had anyone get injured. And so
I'm chuckling a little bit because we're now going to be talking about the game that booted the Dallas Cowboys out of the Sunday night primetime game.
Oh, yes. This is Jerry Jones' worst nightmare. This next game is the 9-4 Cleveland Browns taking on the 5-8 New York Giants. Cleveland's favored by 5 points, and as Snow referred to, this game has booted the Dallas Cowboys versus the San Francisco 49ers out of the Sunday Night Football time slot. Cleveland and New York Giants have taken the spot of it. The situation here is, if you really think about it, so what you're saying is it's Jerry Jones 0 and Jason Garrett 1. Jason Garrett is up 1 point on Jerry Jones currently. But anyway, to the game itself, Cleveland favored by 5 points. I'm gonna roll with that. I think Cleveland wins. I don't know. Snow, is that what you're raising your hand for? Because I know you're kind of a Cleveland hater. You're rolling with Cleveland.
I'm rolling
Cam
with
went with
Dogtown.
Cleveland.
This is just a game, unfortunately, for New York. They have a slim chance, to get back in this playoff hunt, to clinch the NFC, to get into the NFC East situation. But I feel like, and I'm pretty sure everyone out there is feeling like, Cleveland is just too strong for these G-men right now, and they are looking to further clinch their spot in the playoffs, especially right now sitting at 5. This is a game where Cleveland cannot afford to lose, and hopefully hope that Baltimore doesn't win theirs and has to force a tie. Actually, they'll jump. Baltimore would jump Cleveland for the 5 spot if that was to happen, if Cleveland loses, because Baltimore's 3-2 in the division, and Cleveland would be 2-3 in the division for the North, and they just switch up spots, but they would be tied conference wise overall. So,
Right.
this is a game that Cleveland is just going to roll over the Giants. Unfortunately, they take out the. I feel sorry for everyone that has to watch this game, because you take out the Dallas and San Francisco, which we all knew that was going to be bad, and you trade it for Cleveland steamrolling, hopefully, over the Giants.
Yeah, that one's pretty tough. Okay, let's go to our tiebreaker game. Monday Night Football. We're gonna have Pittsburgh taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Pittsburgh at 11-2, Cincinnati at 2-10-1. Pittsburgh's favored by 12.5 points. We're obviously all going Pittsburgh here. Cam went with 38 points. Snow, how many points scored combined in this game, you think?
Oh God. This is just going to be a massacre in Cincinnati. Let's just hammer that in now. We're going to have a massacre in Cincinnati, and these Cincy cats are going to get skinned by some steel. Cam went 38. I'm going to go with 50.
Oh, 50.
I'm dropping
Okay.
the 50 bomb. This is how bad I feel like Cincinnati's just going to get destroyed. I mean, total wise, it's going to be a 50-point game. But I feel like Cincinnati might get a field goal, maybe a touchdown if they get lucky. But Pittsburgh just steamrolls them from pillar to post at Cincinnati.
Okay, I was gonna put myself first because I wanted to put my score so bad, but by you saying 50, it made it easy for me. I was gonna go 45 the whole time just because I wanted to go higher than what Cam did. But you went 50. I'll stay at 45. Not completely sold on anything Pittsburgh's doing on offense. And so I'll leave that there. Let's backtrack real quick. Mama Snow says she wants to know who we picked in the Raiders game. Raiders were playing the Chargers, and we all went Raiders. So, yeah, there you go. Right there, Raiders. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that is it for the week in review show. This is the Flex Network. This is the weekly NFL Week in Review show where we look back at their previous week and look forward to the week coming up this weekend as we get ready for some Saturday. So we get ready for some Thursday, some Saturday, some Sunday, and some Monday night football. We're going to have it all. So I am Flex Mike at Flex Mike 11 on Twitter. He is the SnowMan at AJS Dead Snow on Twitter, his personal account. You can find the Flex Network on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. Football and fantasy football related. You can find Snow at FlexNet_PW Elite for all of our wrestling content. Come back tomorrow evening for your wrestling content. He will be doing his wrestling show Thursday night. So come check it out. But Snow will be doing his show there, and we will be taking care of that. Do us a favor, like and subscribe to our podcast, whether it be on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like and subscribe our YouTube page. Trying to up our following there. Like our Facebook page so we can grow our following there. Share it with your friends. Invite your friends to like the page, all your sports friends.
And our YouTube pages, like them, subscribe to them.
Definitely. But that is it for us for the week. I'm Flex Mike. He is the SnowMan. As for the Flex Network, we will catch you guys later.
Peace out.